Perhaps the best piece of exemplary James Bond films was the second Q would pull out some wild new innovation for the spy to use in his swank adventures. Would it be a laser watch? Or on the other hand, would we see 0007 employing a bunch of bagpipes that served as a flamethrower? Incidentally, the truth of spycraft is similarly as wild as the most fabulous films. Here are 10 of the strangest pieces of hardware a covert operative may discover among their unit. Emptied out rodents made for good dead drops, areas for specialists to leave messages, as indicated by a story this week on the CIA's News and Data page. Forager creatures were avoided with a scramble of hot sauce, making the rodent unpalatable. There was a lot to share for knowledge specialists in the roads of Soviet Moscow, one of the most significant and hazardous war zones of the Cold War. While a dead rodent stuffed with wads of money, scrambled messages, or microfilm may seem like pointless excess, no play on words proposed, it offered a layer of security that emptied out rocks may not. Individuals get exhausted and inquisitive, and get rocks. Be that as it may, who plays with dead rodents? On the off chance that this sounds over-elaborate, think about Operation Acoustic Kitty, which, needlessly, tried to place a working radio transmitter in a feline that was prepared to comfortable up to unfamiliar authorities. Being a covert operative isn't all chic gatherings and tuxedos. Now and again a government agent must go beneath and pass to serve their nation. They may be approached to shroud the devices of their specialty in their rear end. The CIA rectal toolbox has all a government operative may require and all in a helpful size for simple concealment. Luckily for the covert agents, the unit arrives in a break confirmation case with the goal that they don't get harmed attempting to eliminate it. Once out of its concealing spot, the unit opens to give the spy blades, penetrates, and picks. The unit offers all that a covert agent may require to get away from a tacky situation. The rectal toolbox is a keen piece of designing and scaling down that packs a ton of gear into a little space. The British Mystery Administration may have thought of something comparative. MI5's authentic maxim is Regnum Defende, shield the realm. It would be so natural to rebrand themselves to Rectum Defende. Representation for article named This Canine Crap is really a mystery. US Air Force salvage signal peculiar chronicled curio of the day. This isn't a canine dung. It's a T1151 dog do transmitter from the assortment of the National Museum of the US Air Force. It looks net, yet it was staggeringly helpful during the Vietnam War. Created by the United States Military Insight during the 1970s, the crap transmitter was a homing reference point. Here's a X-beam perspective on its inside. Outline for article named This Canine Crap is really a mystery. US Air Force salvage signal. The gallery's portrayal dropped along the Ho Chi Minh Trail via air. This gadget communicated an admonition when gracefully developments happened during the night. The signs were checked by an assortment of organizations, including the CIA. Hurricane Encyclopedia of Espionage and Intelligence, at a little more than 4 inches in length and 75% of an inch in tallness. This subtle government agent device was little enough to be conveyed without any problem. It could send or get radio messages, generally by Morse code. Because the DO transmitter was regularly left undisturbed, operational life was frequently an element of the battery life of its nickel-cadmium battery exhibit. This bit of leeway was regularly basic when the transmitter was used as a homing gadget. Since the gadget gave the presence of fecal issue, it was frequently left undisturbed and subsequently held high proficiency as a homing signal in any event, when planted days or weeks before a mission. The ideal bit of spy pack is one that can be taken care of without anybody associating it is out with the normal in any capacity. You need to pick something that individuals see and hold each day. With coins being so universal, they were a conspicuous objective for reconnaissance. In one case, however, it was an emptied-out coin that gave a government operative away. When a paper kid called Jimmy took a coin for his papers in 1953, he had inadvertently acknowledged a bit of Cold War spy hardware. Dropping the coin, he saw it tear open and a smaller-than-expected photo dropped out of the empty inside. While it looked simply like a typical nickel, there was a minuscule opening board in the face that permitted it to be opened with a needle. While the FBI couldn't decode the numbers on the disguised photo from the start, they were helped in getting another covert agent when they found another empty coin. Seeing the comparability to the coin, Jimmy discovered they made captures that split up a Soviet covert agent ring. While recycled smoking can truly harm your well-being, there was one bit of British covert agent pack that might have demonstrated lethal. While it seemed as though a typical line with a fast bend, it very well may be opened up to uncover a deadly steel edge inside. In the event that a specialist wound up needing giving an enemy a fast cut, then they would consistently have a blade to hand. The pipe was made by the Special Operations Executive during the Second World War. They were answerable for creating hardware to help spies behind adversary lines. While a lot of their work included making devices to assist spies with keeping away from discovery, a portion of their manifestations were weapons to assist them with enduring spots. The British had an affection for hostile lines and furthermore produced a line that disguised a little type firearm. One of the most dangerous situations in the team of a German Zeppelin during the First World War was that of the ethereal post, whose occupation was to notice the ground for foe position and besieging targets while hanging toward the finish of a long tie suspended from the paunch of the airplane. The post sat in a perception vehicle called the covert agent gondola or spy container that was brought down from the airship through the cloud. While the airship itself remained covered inside the cloud layer and out of foe sea. The airborne post at that point turned into the eyes for the blimp's pilot, educating the pilot on a proper course by means of a phone. Despite the fact that the occupation was disturbing, it was said that many team individuals delighted in post obligation since it was the main spot where they were permitted to smoke. Dirigible spy basket. Dirigible aircraft perception vehicle at the Imperial War Museum, London. Commander Ernst August Lehmann, a German Zeppelin chief, portrays in his book The Zeppelins how he and Baron Gemmingen, Count Zeppelin's nephew, had built up the gadget. Our thought was to create a little perception vehicle which may be brought down a half-mile or more beneath the Zeppelin, in that an onlooker could ride and direct the course and the terminating, while the large boat glided peacefully above him in a cloud bank or fog. As a specialist, the assignment of planning the vehicle tumbled to me. It was not my innovation. A few people had submitted comparative thoughts. It came to me from a financial specialist by the name of Hagen, who was additionally a structural designer, in Cologne around then. He had a little machine shop close by and together we made the principal tests with an exceptionally unrefined trial mechanical assembly. To test the model, Lehmann blindfolded the helmsman of the aircraft and permitted himself to be brought down by a winch from the bomb room in an adjusted container, furnished with a phone. Balancing about 150 meters underneath the aircraft and utilizing a compass, Lehmann had the option to advise the blindfolded helmsman which bearing to take and successfully drove the carrier. Dirigible spy basket. The test being a triumph, Lehmann continued to plan a more powerful perception vehicle and a jump driven by the boat's fundamental motor. The gondola was made of wicker work and looked like in structure the body of a minuscule plane with the guideline tail, rudder and sidelong blades. A controlling bar allowed the inhabitant to control flimsy parallel movement if the carrier ended up experiencing aggravations like air choppiness, yet this before long ended up being superfluous. Inside the vehicle were an agreeable seat, a diagram table, electric light, a lightning defender, a compass and the phone. The covert operative gondola was utilized effectively during a bombarding assault on Calais, in northern France, in March 1916. Aristocrat Gemmingen and Lehman both needed to be the first to ride in the perception vehicle, yet it was Gemmingen who in the long run won the contention. Gemmingen was brought down about a half-mile underneath the boat and the blimp climbed into the mists. Gemmingen later said that he had felt desolate down there without anyone else when he saw the large Zeppelin vanish from sight inside the mists. Blimp spy basket Lehman composed. Peering out of the control vehicle we were unable to see anything, not even Gemmingen. The haziness and fog encompassed us like an invulnerable divider. Yet Gemmingen at this point was sending up his requests through the phone, giving bearings by compass. We hovered over the post for 45 minutes. Gemmingen taking as much time as necessary so he could plant his bombs with accuracy. He had little trouble coordinating the tasks and at Spansby would unobtrusively arrange a couple of little bombs dropped, at that point bigger ones, etc. 5 separate assaults were made. Taking in the railroad station, the storage facilities on the docks, the stockpile and different focuses, sometimes arising out of the upper surface of the mists. We saw light ovals made by the searchlights as the beams struck the mists and were impeded as though they were playing on an incredible layer of cotton, a large number of sections of land and debris. Spy crates were later received by the U.S. Navy and utilized on the helium-filled unbending carrier USS Akron. In any case, the principal organization was so brutally unsteady that it put the entire boat at serious risk. A vertical settling blade was added to stop the wild swinging. Yet the Navy concluded that the bin was too perilous to even think about using. At the Imperial War Museum in London, you can see a real Zeppelin perception vehicle that was found close to Colchester after the Zeppelin air strike on September 1916. It is accepted that the winch which sent the suspending link coincidentally ran crazy and the perception vehicle collided with the ground along sea. It is a drained old saying in motion pictures that spies like to encircle themselves with self-destruction pills. The second they are revealed, they can grind down on a glass ampoule of toxic substance and perform one extremely last getaway. One famous adaptation is the stowing away of cyanide in a phony tooth they can clamp down on. One of only a handful few spots cyanide has not been covered up is in teeth. Envision if the government operative crushes their teeth in their sleep. The CIA has uncovered that they once delivered a couple of glasses with a cyanide case covered up in the tip of the arms. The specialist could imagine that they were having a profound think while biting on their glasses when indeed they were submitting suicide. In one genuine case, Alexander Dmitrievich Ogorodnik, codenamed Trigon, a Soviet ambassador turned US spy, approached his controllers for a pen with a covered cyanide pill. Given the unpleasant dealing with he could expect if the KGB ever gotten him, it was a sensible solicitation. Trigon was captured. At the point when he was going to be questioned, he requested to sign his admission with his uncommon pen. He eliminated the container, nibbled on it, and was dead before he hit the floor. It was the 1970s, the Cold War was in full swing, and the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency's Office of Research and Development had developed a miniaturized listening device. But they didn't have a good way to maneuver the device into place without raising suspicions. After scrapping the idea of a mechanical bumblebee, CIA engineers prototyped a dragonfly to carry the bug. Dubbed the insect Otyhopter, the bug-carrying bug was the agency's first insect-size unmanned aerial vehicle (UAV), and it seemed to show potential under ideal conditions. It had a range of 200 meters and a flight time of 60 seconds. Photo of the insect Otyhopter propulsion kit. Flight kit. The propulsion system for the insect Otyhopter was based around a miniature fluidic oscillator, which moved the wings up and down to mimic a real dragonfly's flight. In taking a cue from nature, CIA engineers were wise to choose the dragonfly. Dragonflies are nimble aerialists, able to hover, glide, and even fly backward. They can turn 180 degrees in 3 wing beats. The insect Otyhopter's 6 cm long body and 9 cm wingspan were well within the range of an actual dragonfly's dimensions. Plus, dragonflies are native to every continent except Antarctica, so their presence would be unremarkable, at least in the appropriate season. According to a CIA description, the robobug was supposed to work like this. A laser beam directed at a bimetallic strip in the insect Otyhopter's tail guided the device. That same laser beam acted as a data link for the miniature acoustic sensor on board the craft. A miniature oscillating engine drove the wings. The fuel bladder contained a liquid propellant that, when mixed with an oxifier, created additional thrust. Unfortunately, even the gentlest breeze blew the 1-gram insect Otyhopter off course. It's unclear if the laser guidance and data link were ever implemented. In any event, the UAV never flew an actual spy mission. Decades later, though, dragonflies remain popular research models for UAVs. Beginning in 2005, students at Delft University of Technology in the Netherlands created the Delfly to compete in an international micro-aerial vehicle (MAV) competition. The original design, with a wingspan of 50 centimeters and a weight of 21 grams, wasn't exactly dragonfly size. Several iterations later, the Delfly Micro debuted with a more realistic 10 cm wingspan and a weight of only 3.07 grams. This robotic dragonfly carried a video camera and transmitter to send live video. In 2008, it set a Guinness World Record as the smallest camera plane. Meanwhile, toy companies began marketing radio-controlled robotic dragonflies. Time magazine named Huawei's Flytech Dragonfly one of the best inventions of 2007, although reviews suggested that crosswinds also posed a challenge for this tiny flyer. With 20 cm translucent wings imprinted with a faux circuit design, pudgy white and green body, and glowing blue LED eyes, the Flytech wasn't exactly fit for spycraft. But it proved popular with both kids and adults. More recently, engineers have taken a different approach to building a better robotic dragonfly. Researchers at Draper, in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and the Howard Hughes Medical Institute at Genelia Farm are genetically modifying real dragonflies so that their nervous systems respond to pulses of light, and then equipping the insects with a backpack of electronics. The cybernetic MAV is called Dragonfly. While technologically intriguing, it does raise ethical concerns about tinkering with nature and about the nature of surveillance. The insect Otyhopter is currently on display at the CIA Museum. However, because the museum is housed within the secure CIA headquarters in Langley, VA, it is not open to the general public. Instead, the agency has made photos of the device available online, along with this historic footage of the MAV in flight. At the point when a government operative necessitates to contact their controller in a rush, they would not need to search far for a radio in the event that they were wearing one of the CIA's bogus Scrotums. Intended to be worn on the suitable territory of a male covert operative, the scrotum was vast enough to shroud a smaller than expected departure radio. The thought was, regardless of whether a government agent was caught and strip-looked through, then this sensible scrotum would not draw a lot of consideration. The elastic concealing gadget was normally finished and even had wispy hairs appended. There is no word on who gave the model to the scrotum. Just the most devoted covert operative catcher would wait sufficiently long to identify the deception, the bogus scrotum, which is something that is consistently amusing to state was sadly never placed into boundless use. Or possibly that is the thing that the CIA needs you to accept.